So, Rob, we all heard it. The big news, Deshaun Watson, after initially telling Cleveland they were out, it was down to Atlanta and New Orleans as far as we knew 24 hours ago. And what a turn. I mean, you got in Cleveland, you got Baker Mayfield thinking he had the upper hand at that point. Oh!
No,
so
but he knew he wasn't.
Don't want y'all.
But he was right though. Originally, Chris, he said, "I'm done here." He did say that.
Yeah, whatever.
He said he was
thought
done.
He had the upper hand. He didn't come that strong in his little tweet of surrender. His tweet of surrender, he left the door open to come back. But once he thought Deshaun Watson had spurned the Browns, he was ready to pile on. Get me out too. You're not good enough for Deshaun. You're not good enough for me. Well, Baker, bye. All right? Bye. That's all we got to say in Cleveland. That's right. You know I'm from Cleveland.
Here
Don't
we go.
front.
Chris with 10 hometowns.
It is what it is. A brother was moving.
Now he's a Cleveland. I'm a Cleveland guy.
A brother moved around a lot as a kid. That's just a fact. It's not my fault. My parents, it was on them.
Chris, you wore so many jerseys. It added 10 pounds to your body weight. You got a jersey from every city you lived in. I got a Browns jersey. I got a Cincinnati Reds jersey.
I do. And whenever that team had Iowa made the Final Four, brother would have been yelling, Hawkeyes!
See?
That's right. But in real talk, Rob, Baker, he was ready to leave them, and they seemed like they were between a rock and a hard place. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they end up getting Deshaun Watson. And I think it's clear why. $230 million guaranteed, right?
Absolutely,
I don't know. What is the reporting?
Absolutely.
I haven't seen all the reporting. Rob G, was Atlanta, was New Orleans, were they willing to give that much money or not? Do we know?
How about the Sager, too? He could jump in if he knows any other information. But, Chris, I think after he looked at those two and realized, I don't want to go to either, then he said, I'll go anywhere that you could get a better deal. And then I'm sure that opened the door for them to have a conversation and say, I'll go to Cleveland, but you got to guarantee my whole contract. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
And then that's up to Cleveland to bite or say, nah, that's too rich for us and get out. But faced with everything that was going on, they almost had no choice. They put themselves in that spot, and I think they realized we got to get a quarterback. Here he is. We can flinch and about a couple dollars or whatever and say we don't want to guarantee it. We might lose out on him. Baker doesn't want to be here. There's nobody else out there really that we really want, and this is the guy we want. We exposed ourselves, or it was exposed, Chris. So they did what they had to do, and I give Watson and his people credit, Chris. They had him over a barrel, and not only did the Texans get 3 first-round picks, they got what they wanted, and here we are with a quarterback.
2 other picks, too, so they get 5, right?
5 total, but 3 first-round picks, and Watson gets a fully guaranteed contract, which you don't see in the NFL, and they force their hand, and I hope other players start doing that. This shouldn't be just a baseball and NBA thing. I'd rather see players, Chris, get a shorter deal that's fully guaranteed. If they succeed, let them get paid again. If they don't succeed, you could get out of the deal. I think that's fair.
No, I'm all for guaranteed contracts in the NFL. As much as I'm glad that the basketball and baseball players are getting them, Rob, if anyone should be getting guaranteed deals, it's the NFL players.
Exactly.
And
just make them shorter,
53 of them. Yeah, it's tougher because it's more players. But come on, man. Those dudes, they are literally putting their bodies on the line. And their careers could end at any given moment of a game. That's not the same, or certainly not the same degree of danger baseball and basketball players are putting themselves in. So
what were your thoughts, Chris, when you heard
a shock? I mean, just no question. It was shock because I thought Deshaun was done. I
thought he was
2
going
hours
to New
on
Orleans.
First Things First talking about how, what was Cleveland going to do now? And Deshaun, I didn't know if it was New Orleans or Atlanta. I'll say this, Rob. I don't know what happened in New Orleans because to me, that's a good spot. And
I'll tell you what happened. 240 million games.
Well, yeah, okay. No, that's
seriously.
Fair. But
seriously.
you got Alvin Kamara, assuming Michael Thomas would be healthy, which might be a big assumption. The defense is stout. Dennis Allen, I mean, you can have questions about him. I had questions about him as a head coach. He failed miserably in Oakland. All right, he was 8-28 in 3 years or 2.5 years. But he is a good defensive guy. So that would be a question mark for me. But outside of that, I thought New Orleans also, Rob, being in the NFC, where, it's Deebo Samuel came out and said, yo, it's getting easier and easier every day up in the NFC. But I think Deshaun too, though, Rob, he's in a good spot football-wise. I mean, Cleveland's legit. Now, we don't know what the future holds for him in terms of the suspension. Is it going to be 6 games? Is it going to be 8 games?
But there's a suspension coming.
Do some people think last year might count as a suspension? I've heard that thrown out there. I don't think it should. I don't think that's fair. It wasn't a suspension.
He wasn't suspended, right. And he got paid.
Yep, and he got right.
So,
exactly.
So there's no way that can count as a suspension. Now, if he wants that, then they could say, okay, you sat out the whole year, you were suspended for the whole year, give us your salary. I don't think he'd want that.
Right.
And
or even NFL, give it to us for 8 games. I tell you what, if they gave him that choice, Rob, 8 games, let's say they suspend him for 8 games. But they give him the choice, which I don't think will happen.
No,
they give us 8 games worth of salary from last year. I'd do that if I'm him.
Of course you would, and the Browns probably would pay it. You know what I mean, or part of it. Well, they would do anything to get him out there.
They'd allow that.
Well, I mean, under the table. I don't mean. You know what I mean.
But look, the bottom line, Rob, to your point, what you initially said, if they were like, look, give us last year's salary and that'll be a suspension, he could do that.
Right.
He's already made millions, but he's got $230 million guaranteed coming his way. He could do that, and if I were in those shoes, I'd think about that. And so he could get on the field from day one. But I think bottom line, Rob, we don't know the suspension, so let's not deal with that right now.
Yeah. No doubt.
Football wise, he's in a good position, I believe. I mean, you got 2 very good running backs. Right? In Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You got a nice receiving core headlined now by Amari Cooper. You got, pretty good tight end core, David Njoku. The defense we know is good. And I like the coaching staff. And I actually like Andrew Berry. Everybody talking about, this is the same old Browns. Well, it's been different under Andrew Berry as the GM. And so I do think things are different. The ownership's the same, but the front office I think has been good and the coaching staff. So football-wise, I think he put himself in a good position, even though you can argue New Orleans may have been better.
Yeah, I don't think the Browns, I think that, yes, they got their quarterback, but they're still in a tough division, and I don't see them leapfrogging automatically to be at the top of it. I just think, wow, look at the division and what kind of teams you have. This is going to be like the NFC. What am I thinking? West. You know what I mean, Chris?
Right.
Like the
AFC West is
no, they're better. But the
too,
AFC
North.
Yeah. North is going to be a dogfight. I really believe that. I don't think that the Browns won the division on this. I think there are some teams that are going to be real tough and bounce back, and we didn't get to see it all last year. So you're talking about the Browns, you got the Steelers, right? And
look, the Steelers on paper would be the worst team in the division.
Exactly.
But they're not going to be chumps.
And Baltimore
right?
to bounce back. That's what I'm saying. Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl. Baltimore was hurt. They were banged up. They've been perennial. The Steelers haven't had a losing record since Moby Dick was a guppy, but they're always in the mix. And then you got the Browns.
But I look at the Browns as right there at the top with everybody. We got time to make predictions. And
I'm not there yet because if he misses 8 games, they're not going to be at the top this year.
Right, but I'm not assuming because I don't think it's going to happen, but for the sake of argument, discussion, if he's there for 17 games, I love their chances. I mean, you're right. It's going to be tough. Because Baltimore, you would expect the bounce back year.
Because they were hurt. A lot of players got hurt. Lamar was hurt. I can't look at Baltimore and poo-poo them.
Nah,
but
I don't poo-poo the Browns either. Are you poo-pooing the Browns?
Yeah.
You know, if Watson is there,
well, he's not playing the
I like them as much as Cincinnati and Baltimore. At least.
Yeah.
I mean, again, yes, he's going to be suspended. Yeah. But we can't have a discussion, we don't know what the suspension is. So assume if he's there 17 games, I do like them just as much as Baltimore and Cincinnati. So I think Cincinnati, they were great last year and they had a wonderful season, but I think they could take a step back.
Well, Cincinnati, I agree, because it was kind of out of nowhere. But, Chris, him taking his base salary being $1 million for next year tells me all I need to know about a suspension coming. Like they know it. And I don't know if the NFL is going to allow them to circumvent that by doing it. So the NFL might say, that's fine, we're not going to fine you this year, next year, or something. I mean, they're not going to let him get away with having $1 million. Am I right? Because that's circumventing.
But it just doesn't make sense for us to sit here and try to get. Well, okay, the Browns, Case Keenum for 8 games, and then Deshaun Watson. I mean, of course, if he's suspended, which we think he will be, then they're not. It's going to be for the future. But this obviously was a move for the future. They're now. Because that was the argument to keep Baker, Rob, is that, look, okay, he's not elite. We'll see if he ever would get there, but he at least stabilized you. You know what I mean? He stabilized you at that position. It's something you hadn't had in decades. And that was the argument to keep him. But now I'm stabilized again with a guy that is elite. So that is, I think the Browns made they went all in, and I can't blame them. It's been decades of horrible football there. So good for them to get this thing popping. All right.